It's never too late. Ladies and gentlemen, it's never too late to follow your dreams and your passion. How many more examples do we need? We know them all, right? Bill Withers, 32. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. He was in the Navy for like 10 years before that. Stan Lee. Stan Lee was like 39 when he did his first comic book for the Fantastic Four. I'm not even a big comic book guy, but I know that. Martha Stewart, 41. And now she 420 blazes it with Snoop Dogg. Toni Morrison was 40 when she wrote The Bluest Eye. We know that. Samuel L. Jackson. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. 43. We all knew that one. 43. How many more examples do we need? There's like a million of them, and we know it. It's never too late. You know, the real truth of life is whatever you believe is correct. So if it's too late, congratulations, you're correct. You're right. But if it's never too late, congratulations, you're also right. It's never too late. Beliefs are just a series of thoughts, you know? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Beliefs are just a series of thoughts. So you can let your thoughts pass, but what forms your beliefs are repeated thoughts. So I was thinking about some of these examples. We don't really need any more, but I do have one more. Oh, thanks, Stephen. Do we really need to hear one more? Maybe, maybe not. But this one really stuck with me. I was traveling this summer. I was in Paris. I was doing, I'm a man of culture now. I was traveling a little bit, and I'd never been to Paris. And as an uncultured American, I was trying to up my culture game. So what do? You go to the museums, right? So I went to all the different museums, and one of them really stuck out with me. Was a man by the name of Auguste Rodin, the sculptor. Now he's done some interesting sculptures, like the one people know is this one. It's the thinker when he's like this. I forget the Spanish name for it, but this was what we used to do on the toilet. This pose before we had these things. And what else did he do? The kiss, which is the original Riz blueprint was the kiss. So he did those, some big sculptures everywhere in the world. And now I don't really do psychedelics at museums. I have a good friend, we'll just call him AP, Audemars Piguet, and he suggested, okay, well, why don't you just listen to music? Why don't you listen to Radiohead? Now, me, never really listen to Radiohead. But I'll tell you what, if you listen to Radiohead at the museums, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty good. What's your favorite album? Is it OK Computer? Is it The Bends? Is it In Rainbows? They got some good songs, man. And when I was going to these museums, like I like to look at the art, but really I like to read about the artist's life. And Rodin, he got rejected from art school, not once, not twice, 3 times. Did he let that stop him? No. Now just imagine if some guy in Germany that we all know, if he had that kind of resilience. But this is not about the axis of evil. This is about following your dreams, people. He got rejected from art school 3 times by the French. Down bad, as they say today. He was down bad and hurting. And did that stop him? No. what did he do? He got a job as a tradesman. He was a tradesman, a craftsman. He was like making, you know, ornamental figures on the sides of buildings. He had a wife, he had a kid, and he just kept working. And then at 37, that's like 20 years later for people who are keeping count. 30 years later, 20 years later, he finally got his first work accepted at a salon. Not the place where you get your hair cut, but just like a, you know, it's like a gallery to show your work. That's funny. Everyone probably knows what a salon was, but when I kept seeing artists getting into salons, I was like, they really needed a haircut. It's not what it is. Anyone who's French watching this knows I'm an idiot. And he got into his first salon at 37. Showed his work. And guess what? They hated it. They hated it. They did not like his stuff. In fact, the critics, man, they had some bad words. They said it looked like someone sleepwalking, that's a pretty good burn, I would say, for someone who's a sculptor, is you don't even look like you're awake. That's how bad you are. And then they also said it looked like he just cast the person from like a living person, from another human being, which is like, in today's terms, I was trying to break it down, that's like saying someone, if you're like a rapper, you have ghostwriters. So you can't even write your own bars. Imagine if people said Kendrick had ghostwriters and how upset people would be. Oh my God. That's what they were saying to Rodin at 37 with a wife and kids who didn't get into art school. And did that stop him? Ladies and gentlemen, no, it did not. At 40, he got commissioned to make, they wanted him to do these inviting, they called it an inviting entrance for a museum. It wasn't even built yet. They said, please create an inviting entrance that people can walk through. And in Rodin's mind, he goes, okay, I'm gonna create the gates of H-E-L-L, H-E double hockey sticks. So if you go to the Musée d'Orsay, you'll see the gates of hell there. You see it at his museum, and it's pretty crazy. That's one of the best things I've ever seen. And it took him 40 years to finish that. And he was 40 already. Took him until he was like 80. In fact, he didn't even finish it. He had someone put it together right when he was about to die. They Mac Millered his final album. They Biggie'd his final album. But from the gates of hell, that's where we got the thinker. That's where we got the original Riz blueprint, the Kiss. That's where we got Balzac, which is not, it's a French writer, apparently. And every time he debuted something, they hated it. They hated all of his shit. There was always controversy. But today we regard him as the father of modern sculpture, apparently. I don't know too much about sculpture. But think about that. You're 37, you get your first gallery. Your first person wants to listen to your album. They listen to it, they put it on, and they're like, this sucks. He just kept going. He never let us stop him. And he's one of the best sculptors of all time now. So we got to ask ourselves, what's our excuses? What do we have? And he lived in the 1800s. It kind of sucked back then a little bit, not gonna lie. I wouldn't want to live back then. I like it now. And he still kept going. You know, as a comedian, like our art form, you know, in this art form, a lot of comedians, it's like they don't really, quote unquote, make it, however you want to, I use air quotes if you're listening, make it in their late 30s, early 40s. Some make it earlier. You know, we're not all Eddie Murphy though. We're not all Chris Rock. God bless you both. But why are we trying to hurry up and make it? We should just enjoy being. Enjoy being who you are. Enjoy figuring out who you are. It works for so many people. We don't got to go back through the Samuel L's and the Bill Withers and the Martha Stewarts of them all. We know them. And just remember, It's never too late.